friends, Queen of Flannel here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to part 2 of our Circle of Nature watercolor pencil tutorial / coloring chat-ish. If you missed part 1, I'll pop a link in the upper right corner. And this is the page that we are working on. And in part 1, we did the frame. I'm working with the Tim Holtz Distress watercolor pencils. So that is what we used for this whole section out here, and that's what we're going to continue using for the rest of this image. I think we should be able to get it done in this part. There's not a whole lot left, and I'm not planning on really doing anything like super extensive with the background. And I'm using a Tombow water-based blender pen to activate my my pencils. And I got my scraps paper over here. So yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. First color that I'm going to use is crushed olive. So this is kind of going to be my my highlight color. And the way I did this the last time was I went through and just based all my color in with the pencils first before I activated any of it. And I talked a little bit about this in that part. Now, just because of, I guess, the way my brain works, I was able to like follow it. You don't have to do it that way. If you're afraid like you're gonna miss a section, you can do it in little, little chunks. But that's just the way I chose to do it, and so that is what I'm going to do for the leaves. And I'm not super worried about getting like coloring the entire like white space in, because once I start activating this, I can push the color around. And also I left some white spots as highlights, like if I was using regular watercolors. I kind of like that effect. Totally up to you. But yeah, I definitely think we should be able to get this done. Now, these pencils are a little clunky. They're woodless, so this is just a wrapper on here to keep your hands clean. They do not like my AF-matte sharpener. I used it anyways, but I would recommend using a hand sharpener for these pencils, lest you break your good sharpener. And really, I because I like the Distress line, and I got these on sale, but they've been sitting in my sitting in a drawer in my office, and I just really wanted to use them. They're not bad pencils at all, just a little different. And I also wanted to kind of keep this image simple. I had something else I was going to say, and I completely lost my train of thought. So, I'm filming this on Sunday. You guys will see it Monday. And I'm a little tired this morning. I went to a concert with my sister and my mom, so we got back, fairly late in the evening, and I am in the part of New York that got hit with a lot of the nasty weather. So it was a fun drive back. But I have some other things planned out for the rest of the week. I'd really like to start trying to do more live streams. So I think I'm going to kind of adjust my schedule and maybe see what Tuesdays do for me. Because that way if I need Monday to plan things out, I have Monday. But we'll see how she goes. And I do have something for you guys, hopefully. It's half done, but there will be more about that this week. So we won't really spoil the surprise. And if you are interested, I do have a full flip through of this book up on the channel. I might, once I activate this and see how it looks, use some of the walnut stain that I used on the frame. Okay, so one thing I want to be careful with because there is a little bit of a different variation in my greens here, is I want to make sure that I work from my lighter green into my darker green. Otherwise, I will just end up completely undoing my lighter colors. And I am kind of pouncing the marker around. You want to be careful, like, you don't need to like scrub at this. And I've got a little scrap piece of paper over here, so if I get too much of the darker color on my marker, I can just scribble it off onto the paper. And I've mentioned it before, I really think that Karolina's work lends itself to watercolor and ink. So I tend to use those mediums in her books quite a bit. And there are a few other videos of me working in a couple of her books. She definitely has an interesting style. And if I didn't mention it, my darker color that I just went through with is the Rustic Wilderness, and I'll put those in the description below as well. So yeah, so anyways, went to the concert, got home, you know, fairly late, and well, I'm not very happy about this. So I pull into the driveway and I found like a giant tree branch in the driveway sitting in front of my husband's car. And I mean, it was like midnight, so I'm trying to figure out like where it came from, and also whether or not it like hit the car or anything like that. And I mean, I couldn't see, so you know, unfortunately, he went out this morning to clear out the driveway, and yes, it did in fact hit the vehicle and dented the side of the car and took some of the paint off. And of course, that is the vehicle that we have a lease on. And I was just, so we've only got a few more payments on it before we need to decide whether or not we want to keep it or, you know, lease something else. So, but now I'll have to deal with our insurance to see if I can get it taken care of. So not very happy. And I know there's like storms and whatnot like pretty much everywhere right now. The weather is just horrendous. So I hope if any of you guys are in the path of any of that you're staying safe and warm. And okay, let's give our plants a little, or leaves a little chance to dry. And I'm going to start on our aardvark friend here, and I think I'm going to use the Walnut Stain on the darker areas, and I'm going to use the antique linen on these lighter areas right here. And then if I need to add any other colors on the top, I'll kind of assess that once I see what he looks like. And I might put a little pink in his ear and around his nose. And I haven't seen any listings for it yet, so I'm not sure like how or when this is going to roll out. If I find anything else out, I will let you guys know. So if you didn't catch it, the final distress color, like apparently for good, was announced. Tim Holtz did a live stream yesterday, and it's called Scorched Timber, and that's it. The palette is complete. And he mentioned something about the rest of the palette being released for the watercolor pencils. I know he showed off the new color. The pencil for that, the Scorched Timber, is already released. It dropped with the announcement. And he mentioned, yeah, the rest of the watercolor pencils were supposed to be coming out later this month. But I didn't see anything on any of the usual websites, so I'll have to keep an eye on that. So I will probably pick those up. I do like these pencils. But just gee whiz information, since that's what we're working with. Okay, let's make sure that I don't have any green on my marker here before I start activating this. And I'm going to start in the lighter area with my antique linen. Yeah, I think I am going to put a little pink on his nose and in his ear, and maybe around the eye just a little bit, just so he's not completely just brown, just to add some interest to his little face. Not quite sure what color I want to do the mug. Maybe I'll just, if I use the pink, I'll use the same pink that whatever I use for his ears and his nose for the little flower on his mug, and just keep things super simple. And then put some of the antique linen on his nails down here. Let's see. So all right, so I'm gonna go in with, this is Kitsch Flamingo, in his ears, or at least this ear. And his nose, and around his eye. And I'm going to add just a little bit of the pink on the outside here. Okay, I'm going to hit this real quick with my little Ranger tool just to be sure that it's dry before I go back in. And I think, okay, so I'm going to add just a tiny little bit of the rusty hinge that we used in the frame, just in a couple areas on his body, just to add a little bit of interest, and also to just kind of tie him into the frame. And I am going to activate this pencil. I probably could just leave it like this, but since our focus is on using the watercolor pencil, I am going to hit it with the blender pen. Okay, so next I am going to come in with speckled egg I'm going to use for the kind of like steam smoke-ish area. And this is definitely not as vibrant a color in the pencil as it is in the ink. So it may be a little hard to render on camera, but it'll go up on Instagram once the video goes live. So I should hopefully be able to get a better image of it. And I'm not going to do the speckled egg around the whole like interior here. I just kind of want to use it as like an accent. Alright, so again, I could probably just leave this like this, but we're going to activate it. Okay, and I am going to put a little bit of the speckled egg around some little areas of the frame here. Hopefully, I actually, you know what? Since it's sitting on my desk, I am gonna come in with a colored pencil. So this is just a Crayola Cool Gray that happens to be sitting on my desk that I haven't put away from our Yeti project. And I just kind of want to accent a few of these little spaces here. Totally an optional step. And also make sure that your page is dry before you do this. I should have probably hit this with the heat tool again because I can actually feel the paper is still a little bit damp. But yeah, so make sure your paper's dry. What do I want to do with the mug? Actually, you know what? Let me just put just a tiny little bit of green on these. So there's some flowers on the mug. I'm just gonna add that and just ink those real quick. Ink them. Activate them real quick. Alright, so I think that's it. Like, I think that I am done. Now, I could probably go in and add a little bit more of the speckled egg around the outside. I could probably hit this with the, you know, with a paint pen and go over like the stars and whatnot, but I don't want to undo Karolina's accents, and I'm content with how this looks. I mean, there's probably a bunch more things that if you wanted to, you could take this a step farther. And since this was such a quick project, if I do record another video in this book, maybe we'll go a little bit more in depth with it. But I like the way this looks, so I'm going to leave it at that, and that is going to finish up this this two-parter. So thank you guys so much. I hope that I was able to give you some tips and tricks for using watercolor pencils in your books. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like, sub, hit the bell to get notified when I post future content. It helps me out because YouTube's algorithm is a little silly. And I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks so much.